friends, I'm obviously not in the tavern for our live tavern episode today because I'm on the road. I'm in Colonial Williamsburg. I'm also not sure if doing this from my phone is working for our streaming into Facebook and all that. So I'm checking that real quick to see if that's working. But either way, look how beautiful it is. I love being in Virginia, man. There's just so much history here. I mean, obviously, so much of the revolution began here. So much of the principles of liberty, certainly here, the Virginia Declaration of Rights. Just the acknowledgement that our freedom and our rights come from God, not government, and the government's job is to protect them, not to infringe upon them like it so often does. All right, I'm checking here. It does look like we are live on Facebook. Okay. Let me see. Let me try one thing here. Live from Virginia. Okay. We are not in a tavern tonight, unfortunately, but we are in a really cool part of the nation's history where there are lots of taverns. For sure, for sure, for sure. In fact, right here in Colonial Williamsburg, Christiana Campbell's tavern. I wish I wasn't doing such a quick trip. I would run by there and certainly get me some shepherd's pie or something like that. But anyway, I'm gonna have to keep it short and sweet because I'm about to go speak to a bunch of pastors from across the nation. This is a Liberty Pastors event in Virginia. I love doing these Liberty Pastors events. Paul Blair does an amazing job, and Art Hall and all those folks that invest and that make it possible for us to train pastors and teach them the truth. And that's what we're going to be doing tonight and tomorrow. And actually, they're going a couple of more days, but we've got our Indiana Patriot Academy this week. So the Midwest Patriot Academy happening in Indianapolis at the Capitol there. So I'm going to vent for a minute. So just forgive me, okay? I am very frustrated right now, and I am going to try to do this in just a few minutes. And I want to just tell you, there's a lot coming in the next couple of days. So we were told last week with a 5-0 vote of the Commissioner's Court in Kendall County that Constitution City was going on the ballot, that the election order would be signed, and that the people within the boundaries of that 177.6 beautiful, beautiful acres in the hill country of Texas, that they would decide their fate, that we would be able to self-govern and have an election and decide whether or not we wanted to become Constitution City, which of course we want to. And that was voted on 5-0 by the Commissioner's Court. Didn't have to be. The county judge could have signed that order by himself. Didn't have to bring it before the county commissioners, but he did. And they voted 5-0 for it. And in just the last few days and hours, there has been a movement to undermine Constitution City. And unfortunately, they have won the battle. And so we are, unfortunately, going to have to go to war in order to get Constitution City completed. It's absurd. It's ridiculous. And it is another example of this mindset that, oh, we know better than you. Government knows better than you. The bureaucrats know better than you. They're going to tell you how to live. And I just want to say this to those who are against Constitution City and won this battle. Look into my eyes. Do I look intimidated? Do I look deterred? My God gave me a spirit of power, love, and a sound mind, and I tried love. Now power and sound mind are coming through. And so Constitution City's coming. It's just going to take us a little longer to do it. They have delayed us, but they have not deterred us nor derailed us. And so anyway, a lot more coming on that. We'll be circling up with our attorneys in the next couple of days. And this will happen, however long it takes. This is the vision God gave us. It absolutely fits. And so I'm going to be a happy warrior, but I'm going to be leaning into that warrior side. And that's just where it's going to go. Okay, so that's that. I'm obviously very frustrated because we've invested a ton of time, money, energy, a lot of people involved, and there was no reason that for this to have to happen. And so, but it is what it is. And there are those who don't want Constitution City, and there are those who say, "Oh, we're for you. We want you to do this," but and then they're against us, and they do everything they can to derail us. So that's okay. Nothing happened here in Virginia unanimously. I mean, my goodness, Patrick Henry and James Madison went against each other over the Constitution. And so we will continue to have significant civil discourse. We will absolutely follow. Since I'm in Virginia, I will channel Patrick Henry for you. Not just the give me liberty or give me death part. Believe me, I want to, shout some don't tread on me. But I'm actually going to start with where he started. According to the magnitude of the subject, ought to be the freedom of the debate. Only in this way can we arrive at the truth. Shall I hold back my opinion out of fear of giving offense? I'll offend the great creator of the universe. Well, believe me, the creator's the one I will not offend. I don't care if I offend everybody else. So we will keep marching on. We will win that battle. Constitution City is here, and we're just going to have to jump through some additional hoops and do what's necessary to get it done. So that's one of my levels of frustration. That it's just a time thing, and frankly, just a self-governance thing. I am for self-governance. I'm not going to tell you what to do with your land. I'm not going to tell you whether or not you and your community can incorporate. That's up to you. And I don't care if you're in the same county and you're across county. I shouldn't be able to tell you, but nonetheless, we'll talk more about this in the coming days. The other thing that I wanted to just kind of rant a little bit about, and actually first let me give a little bit of encouraging news. I think what the president has been doing over the last few weeks with regard to the census, the enumeration, and getting some momentum going on this. He tried this back in 2019 to not count illegal aliens, and the Supreme Court actually found against him, but it wasn't a real. I mean, they basically invited him to try again, and because it had to do with some administrative law procedures, not so much the principle of whether or not illegals should be counted. So that battle is ripe right now. I think he has timed it perfectly. I think the PR campaign right now from Stephen Miller and all these others is gaining steam. Heritage Foundation just came out with an article saying all the things I've been saying for 15 years. There's just a momentum growing right now, and I'm excited about that because, I mean, if you've been watching the Tavern at all or taking any of our Constitution classes, we've been for this for a long time. And so anyway, that's a really, really good big change. I'm not sure where the numbers are going to end up. I had seen studies for anywhere from 14 to as many as 20 seats that would flip if you just had fair redistricting without counting illegal aliens. And so we'll see if those numbers hold. Anywhere in there would be obviously a big change for Congress and a big plus for the country. And so that's a big one. And then there was one other. Let's see. I was trying to remember the even the Trump, even the meeting with Putin last Friday, and then Zelensky today. And I haven't had time. I've been flying all day, so I haven't had time to read much about what happened with Zelensky today. But on the Putin meeting, one of the most telling thing to me from President Trump after the meeting was when he said to Sean Hannity, it was something to the effect of, I can't remember exactly how he said, but he said, it doesn't matter about me, right? In other words, everybody was trying to make this about whether or not Trump could bring peace, whether or not Trump could make them get to the table. And he was basically saying, it's not about me. This is what's good for them and what's going to save millions of lives and, all of that. And I just thought that was good. I was glad to see him do that. I mean, obviously he's had even when Hannity said, look, there's been 7 peace deals so far, and he didn't even count a couple of those. He said, well, those aren't really, Trump himself said, those aren't really, necessarily peace deals. The other 4 or 5, yeah, absolutely. I think he counts 5. Anyway, this is unprecedented. This is crazy success on the president's part. And it's not like he's sacrificing victories on the MAGA agenda here in the U.S. to go do those things and get those peace deals. He still continues to do the victories here as well. So that's all very, very good. Obviously not perfect. He's going to keep slipping up and saying things that I think are absurd. If I've read the one of my feeds came across and said that he said something to the effect that he could suspend elections here if we were at war, because Zelensky did that, which I think Zelensky's an absolute poser. I mean, this guy what a ridiculous world leader, and how it irks me every time I see these U.S. senators just bowing to kiss his ring. So embarrassing for us. But I think maybe the reason that quote came across my feed is maybe President Trump got into, somebody asked about whether or not Zelensky was legit. because he had suspended elections. So maybe the president was trying to defend him on that and said he could do that. That is not true. He can't, and that would be a little bit too much bravado, of course. But that stuff happens. Okay, so I guess my whole point is I'm never going to worship the guy. I'm never going to say he's infallible, but I will absolutely say he's the greatest president of my lifetime. He has done more for our country in restoring the Constitution and liberty than anyone in my lifetime, and maybe anyone in our history as a nation other than George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. And I don't mean that in a cliche way. I mean, Washington, here we are in Virginia, obviously wins the war, servant leader, steps off the stage, comes back to preside over the Constitutional Convention, and then becomes president, steps off again after 2 terms, sets the tone for the whole nation, the indispensable man, did more to win the war for liberty, to establish freedom in our country than anyone. So he's always going to be number one. But then Lincoln, same thing, did more to preserve liberty, to preserve the Union, to free the slaves, to do all of those things than anyone in. Okay, wait, sorry. Let's see. Did that disconnect me? I may have disconnected. Anyway, let me just wrap this up because that was my host wanting to know where in the world I am because I go on in about 15 minutes. So I got to take off so that I can get there and speak tonight. But just know, Constitution City is delayed, but it is not deterred. We will win this battle, and we're going to do what it takes to get there. And that's going to be unfortunate for the people that opposed us. But they might have won today, but they will not win in the long run. And to God be the glory for all of it, because this place, this Constitution City, is going to be to restore the Constitution of America and to teach Americans about it. It's shocking to me that there are people in Kendall County, Texas, against teaching kids the Constitution and against helping us do as much of that as we possibly can and teach as many kids as we possibly can. But that is the situation we are facing, and bring it on, bring it on. Let's go. Okay, God bless everybody. Have a great night. Sorry I wasn't in the tavern tonight. I'm sorry if the sound was bad. I'm sorry if we disconnected and had to start over. That's the fun, but that's part of what happens when you're trying to rebuild liberty all over the country. Go lay some bricks to rebuild liberty, folks. We'll see ya.